So I have a thought. Back in 2001, I suddenly got bronchitis. Now that I had had problems with asthmatic bronchitis off and on as a teenager, but I didn't have any other health problems. I was actually very healthy for the most part, aside from not eating right and stuff. And then one day I had to go to the hospital for bronchitis because I was having a severe asthma attack. And overnight, literally, I had hives. I never had hives before, ever, of any kind. All of a sudden, like itchy bumps that would just rise up and disappear all over my body. Like I scratch it in one place and I'm just chasing it everywhere. Uncontrollable. Put you in a nut house if you don't have something to get it under control. It's so severe. And it never stops to this day. It's 24/7. I have to take anything that will calm my nerves. It's not an allergy. I'm hypersensitive is what they determined at a dermatologist. When they checked that out, they did some tests, some scratch tests and various things to see what was causing the hives, and did some allergy tests, and ultimately they determined that I was hypersensitive to the electromagnetic waves in the atmosphere. I didn't really make the connection because I didn't fully understand it all back then, but now it's starting to connect. I'm pretty sure that's around the same time that they started officially releasing wireless internet, Wi-Fi, now that I think about it. And also, I had never had asthma on a regular basis before then. And it seemed like after I got past what I thought was bronchitis, the asthma never went away. It got increasingly worse for a while, for a couple of years, and then eventually it sort of leveled out and it's there, but it's not as severe as it was initially. But I have to use an inhaler daily. And I have to take anything. I like to take Claritin for the hives, just because that specific allergy pill has something in it that seems to help, and I'm also allergic to cats, so that helps. But I don't have to take an allergy pill to stop it. I can take hydroxyzine. Is very effective at stopping the hives, and gabapentin. These are things that help calm your nerves, your nervous system. I also found that I got Crohn's disease, and although I didn't know it until 2004, by the time I found out, I was going into surgery to have part of my intestines cut out. And I deal with constant inflammatory problems from an overactive immune system, mostly in my intestines, but also in my joints. And sometimes I think it even affects my mental function on some level. Now, all of this stuff just suddenly happened with that one case of bronchitis. Like within a couple of days, I had hives and nothing, it just never stopped. I've been trying to figure it out, and the only thing I've ever been able to narrow it down to, I have gone down to biological research. I have done everything on my own and through doctors and medications to try to figure this out. I think I figured it out. It seems I was confident it had to do with the food, because no matter what, that was the only one common thing that was always in the equation. And then it started to occur to me something related to excitotoxins, or I heard that you have an overactive immune system and it's attacking something that it thinks your body shouldn't have. And I thought, well, maybe it's because there's something my body shouldn't be coming in contact with or consuming, and it's causing my immune system to overreact. So I've been strict about eating organic foods. I try not to eat meat, or at least try to avoid it, because I've noticed that my intestines become severely inflamed and I get really sick. And I have to take medications to keep the inflammation down. But it seems to be most effective when I do things that calm my nerves, like smoke marijuana, eat organic food, take medications that are calming to the nerves. Is it possible that when they turned on the Wi-Fi, that is what triggered the overreaction to my immune system? And is it possible, I've also heard that the chemtrails that had little undetectable micro antennas that they were spraying, and it was meant to be embedded into our skin, effectively making us like receivers or antennas for their new wireless satellite systems. Is it possible that I was one of the people, kind of like the people in China, who, when they turned on the Wi-Fi, I had an instant reaction to it, and now I am hypersensitive to those frequencies? And is it possible that when they turned on the 5G system, same thing? So I'm sending this tweet out, and I'm just going to make a recording of my thoughts on this subject too, because I have a feeling that this virus isn't a biological virus, but a man-made virus, and it's not really a virus. And I've heard this from other people too. There's a lot of speculation that this virus isn't a virus at all. I've heard all kinds of things, but here's my thought. So wasn't there talk of micro antennas and receivers, undetectable to the naked eye, being sprayed over everything through chemtrails? Weren't they planning to use them for the new 4G and 5G systems by raining these little micro antennas onto every living thing? We would effectively be like walking, I'm sending this message and I think I missed a sentence. We would effectively, hang on a second here. Okay, yeah, we would effectively be like a walking connection to the internet, while slowly killing and effectively reducing the population through radiating us, basically. Seems like some increase in certain health problems started around 2001, overactive immune system type problems. And it seems like the same kinds of health problems that started in 2001 are being amped up since China turned on their new 5G system on the same day people and animals started randomly dropping dead. Is it possible those little invisible antennas embedded into the skin of everything is the new virus? That would mean a goat or a fruit could test positive as well. Is that why they are turning the crops over, dumping milk, and slaughtering animals unnecessarily? Is everything covered in those little micro antennas, those things that they have been spraying on us? As far as I understand it, they were supposed to like embed themselves into your skin. And I would think they would also embed themselves into the skin of the produce, into the skin of the animals. And I'm wondering that the president in Tanzania did a surprise test on various different things that were not human, and a bunch of things tested positive. Is it possible that those things tested positive because they are positive? They're positively covered in these, whatever they've been spraying us with in the sky? I think I'm right. And I think when they're activating these systems, people who are not healthy enough and strong enough are naturally going to react to the activation, like a surge or, kind of a shock to their system, and whatever their health problems are probably going to be increased till it kills them. Even if they recover, they're probably going to, whatever their weakness is probably going to take them out much faster. And I mean, if that's like radiation, well, then obviously it's going to amp up cancer and things too. So I don't know, is that what's really going on here? Are we being depopulated through a freaking technology that is severely deadly? I don't know. Anyways, it's just a thought, and I think that's what other people have been trying to tell us, but I'm more of a simple person. I'm not an expert at anything. Certainly not a technological person, but I think this makes sense why it seemed like it was coming from the food, because it was probably also being sprayed onto our crops. And if it's in the meat, if they've been eating things that contain these little micro antenna things, then it would be in your meat too, which could explain why my body is going crazy. And so is, my boyfriend's got problems that popped up for him too, I think around the same time, where just suddenly he started having problems as well. And I'm sure with enough testing, he'd probably find he was hypersensitive also. I've become extremely hypersensitive to all kinds of things. I was always ticklish, but I was never like that. I mean, this is severe. So, I don't know if anybody understands the subject. Maybe you need to start pushing it out there and bring some attention to it. I know they've been trying to shut people down for trying to expose what's going on. And I think that this might be something that could possibly be going on. Just a thought. Just remember, you're listening to just one voice.